Hey guys, Mr. Dick here. We're going to cover off some of the details with three-step sparring. I've got Mason here, my youngest son, with me.
Hey.
And Matthew, my oldest boy.
Hi guys.
We're going to use these guys to help us demo some of the details and whatnot. All right, so let's get into our ready positions here. We'll start off in chariot, our attention stance. The attack today, to start with, is going to be a obverse punch, and we're going to be defending with an outer forearm block. So Mason's going to start this, being the attacker in that, with taking a measurement. So he'll step forward with his right leg, and we're going to have about half the foot overlap here. You can kind of see where we are with that, hopefully. And from there, once he's got that adjusted, once the first part is done, if you need to adjust the length of the stance or the width of the stance, do it with the back leg, all right? And then we're going to keep the front leg exactly where it is once we've got that all down, all right? So from here, Mason's going to go back into his starting position, which is going to be a low block in a walking stance. Go ahead, Mace. And key up will indicate that he's ready to go.
Yeah.
Matthew from here will step out with his left leg. And again, he will also say key up to indicate he's ready to go.
Yeah.
Let's start with doing just the first step here. Go ahead, guys. Nice. Very good. So you can see Mason's landed his foot, lucky enough, in pretty much the right spot. Okay? Matthew is using his outer forearm as the tool for the defense. And we're looking pretty good so far. All right? Both hands are on hips. And they should be making eye contact. All right, let's move on to the next step. Go ahead. Nice. Now you'll notice for this one, Mason's foot is in a slightly different position. The first step came to the outside of the foot. The second step is going to go to the inside of Matthew's foot. All right, so we want to make sure we alternate. It's outside, inside, outside. Again, we've got the targeting and stuff all good here. And let's go to our final step of the three-step. Go ahead. Very nice. So throughout this whole thing, if your targeting is a little bit off, then just adapt. Just fix it. All right. Ideally, it's best to be able to do these things with somebody your own height. But during these times, it's not always the easiest thing to do. So Matthew and Mason, there's a little bit of discrepancy in height, but it's working. All right, so here you can see Mason's foot has gone back to the outside as far as position. Distance-wise is still good. We're still using the outer forearm as the tool here. And the punch is fully extended. All right, now last step of the three-step sparring is for the defender to do his retaliation. Go ahead. And they're done. Now this retaliation, if our distance and everything has been correct, then it should just barely touch. All right? We're not looking at smoking the guy or anything like that, but we also don't want to be 6 inches away. If we've done that, something's gone wrong in our distancing. All right? So, back to B. Now we'll just cover off, just come back to your starting positions here, guys. We'll just cover off a little bit of what we're looking at as far as that targeting and stuff goes. So let's just turn that 45 degrees there. Is that going to work that way? Yep. Okay. And take your measurement. Back to your starting position, which is the low block. Left leg out, Matthew. And Matthew, I'd like you to just stay right where you are. Mason, I'd like you to step forward and throw your first technique. Okay, so from here, you can see what we've done. We've gone right to Matthew's center line, and we're looking at straight across, all right? So keeping in mind that this is a technique that we're trying to demonstrate and we're trying to work on our skills, we want to make sure that our targeting is as close to good as we can get. What this is going to do is this is going to help Matthew do his technique. So if you can just slowly step back and do your technique, I want you guys to notice how Matthew's Left arm is going to come across his center line and out. All right, so hopefully you guys can see all that. So what that's going to do is Mason punching on that center line, Matthew coming across the center line. He can do the technique correctly and still end up close to his shoulder line here, instead of, if Mason was to be punching on Matthew's shoulder line, that would put Matthew out here in order to do that technique and actually show the block correctly. So we want it to come back in and be right about there. All right, okay, good work, guys. All right, guys, so we've covered off walking stances and those techniques. Now we're going to cover off three-step sparring with techniques that are going to involve an L stance. So a few things are going to be a little bit different. Measurement's going to be different. Foot position is going to be a little different. All right, but at the end of the day, we still want to have the correct distance for the attacking tool and defending tool that we're going to be using. All right, so Mason, again, is going to be the attacker, and he is going to take his measurement here. Okay, so you can see here, he's taking it to a little more to the inside. He's in his L stance, and basically the toes are going to overlap. So you're not going that full kind of half the foot length and whatnot. You're just overlapping the toes. So a little bit different there. So from here, he'll go back into his ready stance. Yep, very good. And Matthew will go into his left leg out, Chun-Li stance. All right, let's cover off the first move. Go ahead. Nice. So from here, you can see Mason's foot now a little bit different than the walking stance. It's on the inside of Matthew, being the defender in that. It's on the inside of his foot. All right, using the correct tool, fully extended, shoulder height. So that's all looking good. Let's go into our next move. Here, he's alternated. The foot is on the outside of the defenders. And go into your next move. Very good. And retaliation. Nice. Good work, guys. Back to lead. Okay? So we just want to make sure that we're getting our distancing and stuff correct, making sure that our targeting and that is on. Again, with these, you want to make sure your attack is on the center line so that the defender doesn't have to overextend. All right, so one last thing with three-step sparring. For those of you that may not have a sibling or a parent the appropriate size, maybe they're quite a bit taller or whatever and stuff, this is something that you can do on your own to practice three-step sparring, and this will work for three-step and two-step sparring in that. It's just a way to cover off the attack and defense and work on footwork to make sure that you're in the right place. Okay, so what I've taken the liberty of doing is I have some tape laid out on the floor. I've got a spot here for the attacker. I've got a spot here for the defender. Now, I've already taken my measurements for my walking stances. This can be done for L stances as well. And I've pre-measured and set them out. So basically what I've done is started off in attack, came here, stepped forward, taken my measurements, and they're reasonably accurate as far as shoulder width wide, shoulder width and a half in length. Okay? So what we want to do is we'll start off as the attacker, and we can take our measurement, we can come back, and go into our low block. All right, so as we step forward into our first technique, we come here, and my distancing, I should land right, basically the way that we laid it out. My toe should just barely touch that tape. Okay, come here for this one, and finally the third one. Now, keeping in mind, these measurements have all been set up so that my foot should be on the outside, inside, outside as the attacker. From here, I can go into my defensive position, and I'll start off in my chariot position and come back out into Chun-Li to start like we normally would. And this should be halfway down my foot and right on the outside because that's where my foot would be if I was attacking. All right, when we start off, we're going to go into our outer forearm block, step back, and here. And when we do that, we need to adjust just a little, and it should be halfway again, but this time on the inside. Okay? Same thing here, and step back. Tape should be on the outside, and final one there, and we're ready for our retaliation. This is just a little way to indicate whether you're attacking or you're defending, if you have your feet in the right position, and it'll help you out once you start working with a partner again once this whole thing is over. Okay, so hope that helped you guys out. Let me know. Always looking forward to feedback and stuff like that on if any of these things help. They've helped me throughout my time in that. So keep training, and hopefully we'll see you guys all soon.